Welcome to Soulful Conversations with Bithika Anand, exploring the person behind the lawyer. All of you will meet the who's who of the legal world with only one twist that we won't be discussing anything legal with them, digging deeper into their persona and exploring their true selves. I will encourage my guests today to introspect, look within, and speak with their inner voice. I'm also pleased to share that Bar and Bench, a renowned online platform, has happily come on board as media partners for this initiative, and they will be the official telecast partners for Soulful Conversations with Bithika Anand. Today we have with us Vineet Vij, who is the Global General Counsel and Chief Legal Officer of Tech Mahindra and group companies, leading a team of over 100 lawyers spread across the globe with presence in India, US, Mexico, UK, Netherlands and Israel. He is responsible of taking care of the legal and regulatory aspects and multi-billion cross-border commercial deals, mergers and acquisitions, disputes and litigations, global compliances, legal policy and regulatory, IPR, strategic legal support. Vineet has received several awards and accolades, including ASSOCHAM Bharat GC Doyen, Legal 500 GC Powerlist India, Forbes Powerlist Top India GC, Business World Top 100 GCs, Lifetime Achievement Award in-house at India Legal Awards, and many other accolades. So Vineet, it's so nice to have you with us, like many other general counsels. So today we're going to have a conversation in which we will not talk about more on what kind of work, professional work you have done. Like we just read, you've done many types of work, which is very interesting, from mergers acquisition to IPR to compliances to litigation, everything, and it's very impressive. So today we are going to talk more about your personal life, how you have achieved this, how have you reached this stage in your life. So please let us know more on a personal side as to what your journey has been of becoming a general counsel, a group general counsel, now that is where. So what was your journey? You can add a bit on your professional side, the companies that you went through to reach here at Tech Mahindra, but more on the personal side. How did you start it? How was your childhood, college life, and now where you are?
So thank you, Bithika, for having me, and namaskar all. I think very interesting piece where we are not talking about professional, but more on personal to start with. So it takes me back, I don't know how many decades actually. But yes, to start with, I come from a family of lawyers. I remember my I don't remember, but yeah, I'm told that my grandfather migrated from Pakistan, then undivided India.
Okay.
He practiced there in Lahore, and then he started here. My father's is a lawyer, and so basically I'm the third generation. But you know what, my journey has been more of an organic one. I was probably not too sure if I was to start as a lawyer actually. So I did and I came out with some good marks, results in my class 10th examination, and
at that point school?
I did my schooling 10th from Manavsthali school. So I've done DPS and Manavsthali. So those have been the schoolings. Getting good percentage kind of meant in those days for the family to push you to medicine or engineering. So those were the two options that your family would want to, despite the fact that my father was a lawyer. My father is a lawyer and my grandfather was a lawyer. But somehow I was clear science is not my cup of tea. So opted for commerce as a stream. I did my 12th in commerce and came out with flying colors, merit list holder, topper, etc. So the natural choice at that point in time, and we're talking about 3 decades plus ago, was to go to Shriram College of Commerce. So if you have done commerce, you would technically go for a BCom honors at SRCC.
Right, right. And nobody would do law if if they had got these kind of marks. Normally it was the other way around. If the person couldn't get anywhere, they said law kar lo.
Actually, I can't say this now. Definitely not in these current times, but yes,
Yeah,
you're
not
right.
in current
In those
times.
given days, yes, it was probably the last option, and I saw that in the CLC law centers also, in the sense that you would see some very small portion wanting to do law, and all others just wanting to do it for the degree, maybe trying for IAS or whatever. So, having done started with my BCom honors SRCC. I thought, and the family also thought, CA is a good program to be in. So if you're not a doctor or an engineer, then you ought to be a chartered accountant. So
Right.
started with my articleship, but as it was to be, the contract law, the torts, tax laws papers in my BCom honors looked more interesting than the balance sheets and profit and loss accounts,
Right.
the debits and credits, so as to say. And that probably started with my journey towards law, legal as a profession. Was completing my graduation again as topper, kind of in several streams. I looked at LLB and CS, which was emerging as a great career opportunity then, especially because the world was opening up. You were looking at companies coming into India. So LLB law in-house particularly could have been a great profession. So keeping that in mind and keeping that in my focus, I started with law and CS simultaneously. And after my 15 months training in company secretaryship post completion, somewhere down the line, I still felt CS was just a part of laws. So it was more about company law, corporate laws. But the whole focus of laws, you could kind of achieve excellence by pursuing a career in LLB. And that's what I started to say, that decision has been more of an organic one. So there is a time now that I'm an LLB. I've done all other qualifications, but no, I'm going to be pursuing LLB, and started with a practicing lawyer, not with my father, not with my grandfather. And here I am wanting to test waters. And here I am standing at the 30,000 courts in the trial court, wanting to see what's happening actually.
So this was which year? This was which year that you remember? Which year you started practicing, law?
I would started in 1993, 93, 94. 94 actually.
But then after that, how did you get into corporates?
So Bithika, the world's opening up. 90s is seeing global companies coming into India, and there is where you're excited to say, why practice law and litigation in the courts only? Why not be in-house? That's a career opening up. And I thought it's going to be good to be a business leader. I called myself and all others in-house as business lawyers. So that's when started my journey as in-house in 95. And there's been no looking back. So I'm going to be almost about 3 decades of...
So which were the companies you went through to be here in Tech Mahindra?
Yeah, so I started with this company called Punj Lloyd. It was at that point in time almost shaping up to be a competitor to L&T, because that was majorly in engineering, construction, and other similar spaces.
Right.
And they were taking the full advantage of globalization. They were entering into joint ventures in hospitality, into multiple areas, medicine. I will not name people. Some very big timers today. They were all associated, including big time law firm managing partners. So they were all kind of supporting that venture, and it did pretty well, if you ask me, in those couple of years that I spent with them. And that was majorly a secretarial legal role, largely legal, but also secretarial with my qualification. So what I was doing, Bithika, largely was, of course, litigations, writing joint venture contracts, but at the same time also conducting board meetings, setting up companies, filing, their statutory papers, preparing for private placement of shares, RBI, CLB. So it was all a whole gambit of thing that I got an exposure at Punj Lloyd. Moved with, and that's a threshold, I would say, and that's a milestone actually to start with Tata's. And I moved my journey with this company, a joint venture company of Tata Unisys. You had two Tata companies at that point in time in the IT space, which was TCS as a division of Tata Sons, and a listed company in Tata Unisys, Tata Infotech. So I started my journey there and spent several years, I think about 7, 8, 9 years with Tata's. Moved to American Express, India. I was responsible for, and that's the time, and the time that I moved to American Express was 2007, when, we'd seen the Lehman Brothers fall. We had this compliance, everything around non-compliance, compliance really building up. So I thought it's a great opportunity to explore an area of legal compliances, and that's what took me to American Express Group for a role on compliances as a regional person. Short stint though, but moved to HCL and moved up the ladder in HCL into multiple roles as the head of legal compliances, regulatory, indirect tax, and also corporate affairs. So I saw all.
So you have experience in all the areas of law.
Actually, from in the intellectual property, from learned to write patents, claims, to lobbying, without getting into specifics, for benefits to the company in terms of subsidies and concessions from the government, relationship building, all the CIIs in ASSOCHAMs, and working with them very closely. Then leading global compliances in terms of setting up a global compliance structure for HCL then when it existed into, I think, over 50 jurisdictions. And legal and litigation, of course, is
So from HCL, did you come to Tech Mahindra, or still there is a journey?
No.
Okay.
From there.
All right. So I would also. So what was? Of course, you told us, what you did in terms of areas of law. So otherwise, as a leader, working in all these companies, or your experience, which was a good experience, or which you really enjoyed doing in any of these companies from the leadership perspective, or from I would also use the word other than leader, which you were of your this thing, also your relationship with the other stakeholders. If you can briefly tell us about that, which out of all these companies, one company you can tell us where I think you most enjoyed yourself as a leader, and also your relationship with the other stakeholders.
Bithika, I'll be a diplomat. I will be a lawyer.
So you cannot, but here you have to tell us. But of course, you can. You can choose a few, then not one.
So I'll just keep it very brief in the sense, American Express gave me vision of a global or truly American organization. So you understand the metrics and how it works as a New York headquartered company. So that's a learning and takeaway. At Tata's, it is all about ethics, honesty,
correct,
integrity, and so on. So I think that's been a great experience. Punj Lloyd, I said, is important because that's the starting of my career, and therefore it gives me the best exposure. If you ask me, I've sat at CLB steps.
No, not professional. You have to tell me, not from the legal perspective, from the non-legal.
So coming back to that, and then HCL, where I went into relationships, because that opened door with talking to stakeholders, talking to various people in other departments, because ultimately legal person is all about collaboration, if you ask me. So there is where you kind of interact with delivery, you HR, admin, you kind of collaborate very closely. So to that extent, I think HCL has been a standout. And also because I mentioned, I kind of moved up many roles. So therefore,
So you kind of got experience, and also enjoyed that part. So is are there any people, outside law, or who have kind of influenced you, or you have admired them and have some influence on your career path that you have chosen?
so Vitika, I think very briefly, I think we've all been influenced by the great in the legal side by Mr. Nariman, Mr. Jethmalani, Mr. Solabji, and many Justice Krishna Iyer, Justice Bhagwati, and so on. So I think they have been very important in all the lawyers' life, professional life particularly. But I think three people that stand out to me, and probably because I have had the privilege to see them, to work with them, to exchange conversation with them, the three companies groups that I work with, starting with late Shri Ratan Tata. I think I've had the fortune of standing beside him, talking to him. I think that itself is, I can't describe it in words, honestly. So that's something. He's an influencer, not just my life. I think he's influenced all the
Yeah.
150 crores of Indians and people living outside of India. So there is no, I don't have words to describe. So he's a leader, he's a businessman, he's a philanthropist, he's a visionary. The humility, compassion. I think there are no words to describe him, and I think he's. I've had a great influence of him. As I said, standing with him, attending a couple of his sessions, etc. And in the earlier part of my career, have done real good. The second person that I can, the visionary that I can talk about is the HCL Group Chairman, which is Mr. Shivnadar, Padma Bhushan. Again, a visionary, a technical wizard. I've worked very closely with him on, especially on the corporate affairs and matters, concerning HCL Corporation Foundation and philanthropy that he did, and worked closely, even traveled with him, etc. So I think we've all seen notes in terms of hundreds of crores on a daily basis. If you kind of bifurcate of the philanthropy and the donation that he gives is enormous. So that's the second great person that I would like to mention. And third, of course, is our group chairman in Mr. Anand Mahindra. I think who can not get prevailed and influenced by Mr. Mahindra. I think great business acumen, very high compassion, humility, a sports enthusiast, what a humor, what
I
a,
think he's a thorough gentleman also.
he's a thorough gentleman. I think we have our annual meets where he will be just like one of us. He will sit all day, participate in all
So all
activities.
three, I think, were great personalities, no doubt.
Greatest, one of the great. So I think three visionaries that I talked about, they have been a great influence, and what they've taught, I don't know, your focus, your how do you kind of be, you have your humility, you be compassionate. I think all of that comes from these three gentlemen.
And any challenges that you have faced? I'm talking when you became a head legal or you became a general counsel. What kind of challenges, which are again not doing with the cases that you've done or matters or transactions you've done? Otherwise, what kind of challenges have you faced?
So, Bithika, I think as an in-house counsel, and I'll concentrate more, I will say in-house counsel because I think we have lakhs of people today working as in-house counsel at different levels and eventually becoming the general counsels when you kind of lead the function. So I always say all of us are business leaders, and therefore we need to participate with business in terms of all transactions. I would say not on all days, but on many days we are superheroes of the company because when the things go south, there are summons coming in, there are notices reaching us, there are authorities chasing you, there is a big transaction to be closed. I think what it takes is to put your cap, maybe for me, put my glasses and get started. So that's the good side of it. But then the challenge here is the problems don't have an easy button or an easy solution. I can tell you it's not an easy space to be in. Sometimes I envy the external counsels because they still can get away with some disclaimers, but I don't think we have that space as general counsels to come up with any disclaimers. Our answers have to be in the black and white. Our
Yes.
solution have to be in sync with the business and the issues and most apt situation. So without getting into naming these problem, you understand, we are not authorized to speak specific issues, but I think what actually happens is in those difficult times, these difficult times could be criminal litigations, especially involving, the leadership. Those could be difficult times, and that can be a challenging situation. Sometimes in trans-border deals, there could be points which run into stalemate, and therefore, how do you overcome them? That could be situation, because dealing with multinational clients is not an easy task. Not that it is easy to deal with Indian clients also, but it's slightly tougher, especially when you need to know the laws of those countries and where you operate in. So that could be another situation. And lastly, I think the challenging role in the emerging times, especially we are now moving into different form of automation, new technologies coming into play, including the artificial intelligence. And I don't know, I need to upgrade myself on a certain count, but I think those are also challenging times. So I think as we sum it up, all this kind of is not.
So do you think AI is going to replace the lawyers? It's like something which everybody's talking about. Do you think AI is going to replace the lawyers? Because I have my own views on it, which I think they're not going to. Of course, they will help in more efficiency and, finding maybe better solutions to their matters and all. But I think human mind has created AI, so I don't think so it can really replace, but then it can increase the, the way, the momentum, the way, things. And right now we are going with a certain level of, correctness, speed and all that. Obviously that it can help. So what are your views on that?
So I echo your views, Bithika. I don't think machine can replace humans. That's what I would say. What we feed in is what will come out. Of course, it will get processed and it could be a faster and a quicker output for sure. So what will happen to my mind is it's not replacing lawyers, surely not, but it will surely replace some mundane jobs.
Yes.
It will take away a lot of tasks that we do in terms of research, in terms of applying intelligence at certain points, and also probably devising some basic documents, etc. So, but to sum it up, I think AI is here to aid us than to replace us. That's
absolutely well said.
The tagline that I would want to use. So it will not replace, but it will surely be an aid. And therefore, my suggestion to all the youngsters and all of the people in the legal space and maybe in all other spaces, if you do not know how to use AI, then you are gone. So it is going to be an important tool and technology at your hand.
Yeah, it can obviously even better your quality, the way you do things. It can, improve all that also in a big way. Yeah. So now talking enough of your life as a lawyer. So what would you have been if you were not a lawyer?
I haven't thought about it. But, I think what could have happened possibly is three things. I don't know, no order. I think I could have been in education. I could have been maybe a teacher. Academics has been my interest item, and it's not just about reading. It's also about giving it back, fostering curiosity, knowledge, thinking, etc. in students. So I think I do that well. So possibly I could have been there. What else could I have done? I have been a Bollywood buff, watching movie on Friday night, and I'm talking of 30 years ago, not leave any movie at the cinema hall.
So you would have wanted to be a Bollywood star, an actor.
I don't know how the world would have taken me, but अगर गया होता तो शायद शाहरुख खान, I don't know, मेरे एज के हैं तो हो सकता था. सोचने में क्या बुराई है?
Absolutely. Why not?
And thirdly, maybe I also liked playing cricket. That comes from my family. I think And I also was very closely connected with the DDC, the Delhi District Cricket Association here. So cricketer भी हो सकता था, अगर cricketer होता तो फिर शायद कपिल देव या
So
रवि
cricketer
शास्त्री.
होता या actor होता या teacher होता, right?
नहीं, teacher भी. So could have been one of those.
Yeah. So do you have any relatives? Do you have any hobbies? How do you bring in your life a work-life balance? Do you really believe in work-life balance? And do you have any other passion other than, law?
So I think work-life balance is a latest concept. अभी आजकल बहुत कुछ बच्चों ने they bring it to the table. In fact, in the interviews, the person being interviewed will ask you, what's your work-life balance policy? So we are now living in those times, but surely it's an important component. I think and the kind of pressures and stress we live in, we can be killed, and especially after COVID disaster. I think healthy life is very important. So therefore, I think work-life balance is a very important aspect of one's life. Being at a responsible position where you can be asked to respond at any timelines, at any hours, etc. Life for us in the legal profession is tough, and you know it also from a law firm perspective.
Yes.
And you're working with managing partners on the law firms and the in-house. It is not easy, and most of us talk about work-life balance. We probably may not be achieving it also, but yes, I try to practice to the extent I can. Traveling,
Any
I like.
hobbies?
Yeah, so traveling is something that I like. Traveling generally within the country. I'm not too fond of traveling abroad, probably as a vegetarian and a strict vegetarian, I think, and the kind of places worth traveling here in India. So that's one. Two, I love gardening. I think I have a rooftop garden and I love doing that. So on a Saturday, Sunday, I'm done. So 2 hours or an hour, 2 hours are dedicated to the plants. And
So what are the plants that you are growing in
it'll
your
be more of
garden?
kitchen garden in the sense I don't have a choice there. It's my wife who determines what she would want me to plant. So it's going to be seasonal. It could be green chili to tomatoes to flowers to anything. It's all spread. I have almost about 400 plants, and I really take care of them just like my kids. So I love doing that. General reading, and I think I'm very interested in geopolitics, and I will not speak more there because I have my own views on a lot of issues and matters, but I think that also interests me. So these are a couple of 2-3 things that keep me busy outside my professional life.
And what about spirituality? Does it in your life? Does it come in your life? Do you think about it? Is there something you're connected with, or it doesn't mean anything?
Surely, Bithika, I think it touches upon all of us. I think, especially in the current times, or maybe in all times, spirituality has been very important. How do you define it, or what's your definition of spirituality is the question, I think. Some people may think it's about going to a place of worship and all of that. But to me, spirituality is like, I would say, it's my invisible Wi-Fi connection to the universe, or maybe a Wi-Fi connection to my own self. That's my definition of spirituality. So what I would want to do and I would not want to go on a mountaintop and sit there meditating for hours. I would want to be here where I am, taking time out for myself, talking to myself. It could be in the early morning hours. It could be before going to sleep. It could be during a break at my place of work. It could be anywhere. It's like taking a deep breath.
It's like discovering yourself, and
actually, what have you done? I think you would want to question yourself. What have you done for yourself and for others? I think that is the basis. Keep your phones off. Get off the Instagrams and Facebook for a little period of time. Take a pause. Talk to yourself. Be it 5 minutes. And most importantly, practice gratitude. I think my belief is, you call it in Hindi shukrana,
right.
So it's like gratitude to two set of people. One, जिन्होंने आपके साथ अच्छा किया, so be thankful to them, and two, to be thankful to people जिन्होंने आपके साथ बुरा नहीं किया. So that also you need to be gratitude. You have to have that gratitude. So have that gratitude. So gratitude, go discover yourself, spend time with yourself, walking may, sleeping may, whenever. So take your time out, and that's spirituality, if you ask me, to my mind.
Yeah, so that was really nice, very well said about spirituality. Yeah, okay, go on.
Humor, and humor. Witty jokes, laughter. I think that also, to my mind, people may not like it, but मैं उसको combine करता हूँ spirituality के साथ. मुझे लगता है हंसाना also is spirituality. Sorry to,
Great. So it's so very nice. We had a very good conversation about your personal life. So thanks a lot, Vineet, and look forward to be interacting with you more in some other endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bithika, and it was a pleasure speaking on topics outside our professional life. So this is amazing.
Good you enjoyed.
I did. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.